I like teaching, I like transforming individuals and giving them the empowerment to transform their entire future legacy and their family tree. And you can do these things. They can't hide it from you, folks. They can't. I'm trying to explain this to you. They cannot hide it from you. But if you don't understand it, you can be tricked by the things that you don't know. You get trapped in price. I don't fucking get trapped. There's no smart money traps. Smart money does the trapping. You're not trapping smart money traders. You don't even know what the fuck a smart money trader is. That's what you get when you get people teaching leaked content, lying and defrauding people. They make up bullshit like CRT. All this secondhand mentorship, watered down, has all come from me, and they don't even know how to do it right. That's why the 2024 mentorship is being live streamed. That way nobody can talk shit and say, he picked the right one, he's cherry picking. You notice they ain't saying any of that anymore? They got nothing to say now. And they're going to find something always to gripe about. Instead of saying, I'm going to take this energy, like some of the trolls have had in the past, and I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to prove him wrong. Use that energy. Go into it with that intent, that you're going to prove what I'm teaching is wrong. Let that be your fucking superpower. You're going to go in, that's it, baby. And watch what happens. Just watch. And you're going to see it's an uncomfortable feeling when it hits you. The whole time, I've been telling the truth. The whole time. And all that time you wasted. You're wasting it. Why? It costs you nothing, man. It just goes to show you. I said it in Mentorship 2022. I'm sorry, 2016 rather. I said I could literally teach this stuff on the front page of the USA Today newspaper. And it would largely go ignored. Because people just, we're weird creatures. We want something easy, and we want to say something that we did. Like, we did it. I figured it out. I did this, I did that. And a lot of my students that are male are out there actively trying to distance themselves because they want to look like they created something. And the only thing they did was create a new name. It's my stuff. I get accused, like the Democrats tell the world that the other side does this and does that, and they're guilty of it. They're doing the very things they're accusing their opposition of doing. I didn't rebrand shit. I'm the originator of all this stuff. I'm out here demonstrating it, and there's nobody else out here doing it either. They're not demonstrating it. They're not teaching the new content and showing you how it's going to work, and then it does. These are all mine. These are all my things. And a lot of my students that are male want to be like that, and they want to emulate me by trying to say they created something new. Or they'll send me tweets and I figured out something that you don't know. Listen, you don't even know the fuck I know. So stop that stuff. Okay? I don't even want to know what you think you know. I don't need to know anything more. I know the market. I know the fucking source code. You're talking to me about what I don't know. Get the fuck out of here. It's silly. Like, seriously. You don't even know who the fuck's talking to you. That's what's nuts. Oh, it's fucking fun. But market making used to be a group of men that would get together and they would control. And how would they do that? For the ones that were asking, how did they do that? If it was before it was electronic and it wasn't out there, how were they doing it? They would put orders in the marketplace. One group of the men across the table, they would have an interest in buying and the other one would have an interest in selling, knowing that the market would book that price, mark to market, and then it would reflect in the price action. So if they wanted the higher high of the day to be met, they would have an order to buy an X amount of whatever it is, shares, contracts, whatnot, and they would cause that transaction to happen. And they would just keep doing that. And they would offer constantly higher prices. And if they weren't getting the order flow that would come by natural process of buying by the floor or other institutions or the public that would be investing in that, they would create that mark-to-market booking of price that keeps going higher. So they would artificially create these buy programs and sell programs. But it's not efficient. Whenever you have a human element involved, it's not efficient. So sometimes it would not be as efficient as they would want it to be. And then you have the age of electronic trading, which I was privileged to be a part of, where I was doing the hand-drawing charts, where I actually had to draw my charts out. I would put the little opening price tick on the chart, a paper chart book, and then draw it down to the low and up to the high, and then I would do a little right tick to the right for my open, high, low close, and that would be what I would do. I had to do that 4 times a week because the orders that I would have for new books of charts that would be delivered weekly, they would give you how the week settled. So it would give you Friday's trading. They would print and then deliver it to you. And then on Monday, you would start doing, the whole drawing of your charts. And I would never have to do my Friday because the next chart book that would be delivered to me by mail would be showing Friday's open, high, lows, close for the markets I would trade with. And the markets I was trading back then were the meats, currency futures, bond futures. And it's a little tedious when you have to draw your own individual open, high, low, close bar. We didn't have any alternative back then. I mean, that's just the way you did it. And then they created software programs like Supercharts, TradeStation, Metastock, that was my favorite. I liked Metastock. I think it was Equus was the producer of it. But I love that platform. That was my favorite platform. And I used end of day data, and I would plot hourly charts with the daily chart and the weekly chart. And I would just simply use a 50-day moving average, and if it was sloping up, I was bullish. And if it wasn't sloping up, I wouldn't trade it. I would wait for another market to trade that would give that indication. And I would use a 60-minute or hourly chart when it would go oversold, and it would either give me a type 2 trend following divergence, which is called a hidden divergence today. Nick Van Nice was the guy that introduced that. Or a classic type 1 bullish divergence where you have a lower low in price, but a higher low in the stochastic. That was my model back in the 90s. So whenever I made money, if the market was going to go up, that's when my system worked. But it didn't work a lot. It lost a lot because the markets were not always going up. And I didn't know how to time the market going up. I just looked at the indicators to tell me when it should go up. And I got my ass handed to me over and over and over again, trusting indicators and never referring to price, never referring to it. The only time I cared about the price is what price I needed to say to my broker when I had to physically call them to tell them what I wanted to buy at, because that was it. And the only selling I did initially was if I use a stop loss at all, this is where I want to put my sell stop. Sell was a rare thing in the 90s for me when I first started, because I didn't know much and I was already trying to do something I wasn't equipped to do, trying to trade with money that I couldn't afford to lose. I was borrowing it off of credit cards, of all places. That's how rushed I was. So when I am critical on all of you and I yell at you basically and telling you you're stupid for doing this dumb shit, I'm the leader of that line, man. Like, if that's a Congo line, I was leading it because I was borrowing credit card money. That's dumb. And it's bad. That's a bad decision. But that's how panicked I was to get out of the situation I was in. I was willing to take a cash advance off of a credit card. Nations Bank credit card. That's what it was. And I blew it. Because I was trying to do the things that many of you are trying to do, and you think you're going to be the exempt. You're not. It's not going to happen to you. Versus saying, okay, Michael says to look at the market like this. I'm going to spend the next weeks and months looking at it like this until I get comfortable with seeing and recognizing it. Then when I get comfortable with seeing it and recognizing it, then I'm going to start demonstrating setups that I've been tape reading. And then after I do that for a minimum of 2 months, minimum. If you can't give yourself and me as a mentor 2 months of paper trading, that way you're proving that you're consistently trying to use the same stuff. You're going to lose. You're going to have losing trades. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should be using the lowest leverage. That means using 1 micro lot if you're trading index futures. Let that be your benchmark. And if you're consistently able to trade with that for 2 months, then at the very, very, very minimum, I think you could entertain, not that you should, but you could entertain the idea of going after a combine challenge, because you're only risking what you paid in. But you should not trade with real money yet. And if you can't get a combine passed and grow that account to fund it with 1 micro, you're not trying to rush to get a lot of money. You're going to be surprised how it feels when you have this monetary reward or punishment if you do it wrong. That's why you want to get bored with doing it correctly in the beginning. That's all part of the documentation stage of your development. This is all the things that you're going to have as a baseline and foundation. This is what you worked with to start from. And if you don't record all that, you won't be able to measure your advancement in your understanding and your progress. And you will feel so much better a year later, 12 months from the time you start, and 12 months later, and you look back at what you journaled and how you thought about price and the silly little times that you were worrying about things that were not even all that impactful, and all the energy and the time that you wasted worrying about the things that are not even important, that could have been used to focus on the positive stuff. And how you think about price back then versus how you think about it 12 months later, you're a new person. You'll be confident. You'll be detail-oriented. You won't be in a rush to get into a trade, and you'll feel comfortable. If you want to take a day off to do something and not trade, you're not missing anything. That's the wonderful feeling. Like, I don't ever feel like, oh, I missed the move, man. I wish I would have. No, you don't ever hear me talk like that. You never hear me talk that way. Because I know what I can do every single day. And I know when the big days are coming. I know when the big runs are going to occur, higher and lower. I know all those things. So because I know them, I know they're not an everyday instance, whereas you don't know when they're going to occur, so you naturally assume what? Every day could potentially be one of those big days. Think about it. It's true, isn't it? That's exactly how you think right now about price. You never know when that big day is going to come. I do. And if you don't get control of yourself and start giving yourself realistic expectations and living in those, and not trying to be an Olympic feat type trader where you're trying to do the impossible all the time. Some of you young men are trying to impress me with what you think you figured out instead of to show me what you've learned and learned it correctly. That's what would impress me. I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to distract and lie to me and lie to yourself and anybody else reading your tweets that you are doing far better than you actually really are. And I mean that with love. I'm not trying to be, derogatory or try to talk you down. I'm telling you, there's only a few of you that do it. But I'm quite certain you're doing that because you're compensating for something. So instead of telling me what you think you discovered, show me what you've been doing with what you learned. And if you're not consistently able to do that, I'm not impressed with anything else. Because that means you haven't done the work. That means you haven't been putting yourself in front of the charts, tape reading, studying, back testing, and then never making it to the point where you can be demo trading with a purpose, not just guessing. Like you should, if you're going to employ a demo account, you should be at least comfortable with knowing that you're not rushing to get into something just to prove something. It's going to be, I'm doing this because I see the setup, I see where the risk is, I see where the profit is. The range is affording me enough to warrant the risk, and it's at the time of day where it should behave this way. So I'm going to engage it and trade it based on those rules. And then take it down, and then journal it all up, mark it up, and document it, and put it in your journal. Next day, and you keep doing it. Minimum, if you can't give me 2 months like that, stop listening to me. Stop watching my videos. Go listen to somebody else. Go listen to someone else tickle your ears and give you all the little buttery little comments and never learn anything. And then come back when you lose your ass, because you'll be better equipped to do it the right way. Because if you can't do this, I promise you this, you are not going to get what you think you should get real quick. You want it real fast. It ain't going to happen real fast. And the faster you want it, the longer it's going to take. So just submit to the right now day of this is what I have to do. I have to study price like this. I believe that there's an algorithm. I believe that it's going to behave this way based on time. And now I'm going to go in looking for that. If it isn't occurring like that, if I don't see it happening, then I can quickly ascertain that this guy's talking out his ass. There is an algorithm, so therefore he's a fraud, and I shouldn't waste any more time with him. There you go. That's the litmus test. It costs you no money to get that. And don't take anybody else's opinion for it. Don't take anybody else's tweet. Don't take anybody else's bullshit lies, any kind of video garbage. You do it. You do it yourself, and you will see what I've said is the truth. Nobody has gone through that process and came forward and said, this is fake, this is false, it doesn't happen this way. I've never done it. It's never done it like that. And that's why I always encourage every single person that comes to me to don't take my word for it. Don't believe what I say. Go into the charts and see what I'm telling you is there or not. I'm convinced that once you see it, you may not like me. You may not come out on social media and say, hey, look, you were right, or I was wrong, or anything like that. But you're going to start digging into it more. and it's going to make you a better trader. And it's going to help you not lose so much money. If that's all I get out of this interaction between us, that's a win for me. Because I don't want to see you guys hurt yourself. And I hurt myself a lot. And it messes you all up mentally. It makes you it's hard to live with some of the mistakes you can do to yourself financially and emotionally and psychologically. I would be so much better as a trader and as a person if I would have had someone like I'm trying to be for you. If I had that, I'm convinced that I wouldn't have hurt myself as bad as I did. I would have learned better. I would have learned faster. Not that that's a good thing, but I would have known what to do sooner without going through all the trial and error of hurting myself, of trying to talk myself into bad things and convincing myself of it being the right stuff when it was all the wrong stuff. So you have a market that is absolutely controlled. It should not bother you. It should be encouragement. Because if they're controlling it, that means these things that you're looking for are going to constantly repeat. And if they can constantly repeat, that means you have a reoccurring condition that affords you a setup that can be framed with risk and potential profit. That should encourage you. Use your thought process right now. If you have something that you've been trading with before coming to me, can you tell me if it's going to be the morning session or the afternoon session that your trade's going to form in with your school of thought, and what time it's going to form? Because if you don't know that, you're not on the same playing field. You're not even in the same zip code as me. If you can't tell me if you know where the market's going to go, higher or lower, more than 300 handles, up or down, you're not on the same playing field as me. If you don't know how to add to a winning position at every point, that would be an individual entry point as well, if none of the previous ones were used and they'd still be profitable, you're not on the same playing field as me. If you don't know how to see where the high or the low of the day is going to form before the day starts trading, you're not on the same playing field as me. All of you have opportunities to improve on. Some of you have a whole lot more opportunity because you have next to nothing in terms of understanding. Others, you have these things that you've held on to, and because you probably have made a little bit of money in the past, you think, and you've married the vein, thinking that this is the panacea, be all end all, and it beats everything else because you've made a little bit of money with it. But you're not so confident with it that you're going to go out there and say, let's see what mine does against yours. And I've only done that not to be a dick, not to be a troublemaker. Well, maybe I did do that to be a troublemaker. It's not meant to be vicious. It's to open the eyes of everyone else, because teams exist in trading. Tribes exist in trading. And some of you like to make it ICT tribe, or team ICT. Each one of you is a one-man army. I don't need any of you to defend me. I don't want you doing that. And I have created these scenarios where people can step forward and present what they believe is good in the marketplace versus what I'm telling you and proving. And nothing's going to come close. The reason why that doesn't happen is largely because they don't know how to trade well. So they don't want to showcase that. Two, when I do outshine that and prove that this is the superior perspective on the market, it's going to mar them for life. It's going to hurt them, and they're trying to spare themselves of that. Just like in the beginning when you do all the wrong things, when you're watching price and impulsively say, oh, it's going to go up from here, and it doesn't, and you just quickly discount it. It's the same thing. They're putting blinders on. And that's unfortunate because you're holding yourself back. All of you, even if you are making money, you could be making so much more money easier by knowing what's going to hurt you.